2022, last year. So over here, we have seen that there is a rising demand for skilled worker across organization. And it is estimated that within a few years, we will see the supply would not be able to meet the demand for high-skilled worker, right? So what this means is that there will be a job that will be unfilled by the year 2030, as well as there would be a potential, a huge potential loss in annual revenue to the enterprise. So this is current situation. And if we look into the top HR challenges of 2023 today, right? This is a survey done by the Human Resource Executive that revealed the top 5 challenges that are met by the HR professionals. So as per the statistic shared before, due to the rising demand for high-skilled worker, as well as the supply not being able to meet this, we are seeing hiring and retention to be the top issue that are being faced, as listed by 47% of the survey respondents. In addition to this, we are seeing that a lot of HR professionals are listing the issue of stress as well as culture. A lot of employees are burnout, which putting them at the risk of quitting or losing productivity due to burnout. So in addition to this, there's also a challenge with technology. So a lot of HR professionals have to deal with multiple different applications during their day-to-day job, interacting with the different solutions. And sometimes they also don't have the technology that they may need to meet with their challenges, right? So many organizations are seeing a lack in HR digitalization in this sense, right? So of course, we also want to, the employees also want to see more learning and development within their role, right? To be able to feel empowered, to see growth with higher employees' engagement. So from all these HR challenges, we are seeing an increasing needs for digital labor, not only within the HR space, but of course also across all the different organizations, right? So first, let me just talk you through on the fundamental of what it means to by the word digital labor, right? So digital labor is basically about leveraging technology to help empower individuals to do more work without maybe having the expert knowledge or technical knowledge involved with the business process and the applications that they may use during their day-to-day work. So if you can imagine, let's say within every time you come to work, you may have to deal with multiple different applications. And then for new hires, they may not have the knowledge on the business process to be able to understand, let's say, once they have complete certain tasks, what else or what is next to be followed up, right? So all these are what we consider to be expert knowledge. And this can be facilitated with digital labor to help the experience of the employees to be smoother and also enable them to be more productive within the day-to-day job. Okay, so with the rising demand for skilled worker as well as the lack in supply, with digital labor, we will be able to enable the employees to be more productive so that we can fill in the talent gap in this way. Okay, so digital labor on the basis is basically about streamlines operation as well as reduce manual works. So the manual work that you may do on the day-to-day basis are basically the concept that digital labor are trying to tackle. So these are the 3 business challenges in total that digital labor try to address. So the first one, again, is that there are not enough people to do the work that need to be done, right? So this also means that maybe with the current productivity level that they have to deal with multiple applications, and new hires that just joined the company, they may not be familiar with the process, right? How do we assist them for them to be able to, with the same amount of input, in effort to be able to yield more output in terms of work productivity. And then secondly, a lot of employees are also spending too much time on some mundane tasks that could be automated, right? So what this means is, for example, from a survey that we have done across 200 organizations, we have seen that on average, the HR professional have to deal with 13 different applications on their day-to-day job. And some of these applications may not already have a level of integration between each other. So what this means is that the employees may have to do tasks that are manual, like data entry between this application to integrate them, right? So it's like manual tasks, which should have been automated in that case. So last but not least, one of the challenge that digital labor want to address is that sometimes the process don't run the way that they were intended, right? So out compliance, for example. So these outlier steps we want to minimize, right? And most of the time, this outlier steps is the reason why some of the process would be delayed, or it go into a void that does not get resolved until issue is raised by the customers or someone. So basically, with digital labor, we want to be able to direct the employees to the correct path within the process, so that the processes are all run within the intended flow that it should be. Okay, so again, I cannot see a question in chat right now. So if you have any question, feel free to post it in the chat. Spandana will have to raise it up. Or you can also just unmute yourself to talk. Okay. So let's move on, right? So these are some of the digital labor benefits. So three main ones. So first is to help to boost the employees' productivity using AI and automation power, right? So basically, again, to make sure that any repetitive tasks and tasks that involve a large volume of data would be able to be minimized using the power of digital labor, so that the employees would be able to very much focus on complex problems and actionable insights, more high value added tasks within their day-to-day job. So for example, to reduce the back office task processing time by 60% using digital labor. And then we also want to improve, so this one is not too much pertaining to HR per se, but basically digital labor also largely help to create exceptional customer care, right? So sometimes if you are performing a talent search or sourcing for customers, right? So there are, even though within the front end, we are interacting with the professional, but on the back end, there are back end process that still need to be digitalized, to be automated, right? So with digital labor, it also helps to empower the customer to do some level of self-service, as well as also to be able to automate most of the back end process, so that they receive a more seamless experience. And then last but not least, when we have a large volume of data to be go through and a lot of repetitive tasks, copy and paste and data entry, of course, there would be some accuracy issue pertaining to human error, right? However, when we automate this task using digital labor, we hope to improve this accuracy. The accuracy will also be improved with the process that this is involved. So that are the three main benefits of digital labor. And with these three benefits, we also have three entry points for transforming work, right? So the first entry point is with employee productivity, right? So obviously we want to really automate some of the repetitive and mundane process, and also include suggestion for the employees to be able to know what is the next step in the workflow that they should follow. So within HR, that would be, let's say, the HR talent acquisition process is one of the possible entry point to transform work. So the second entry point is employee empowerment, right? So basically to put organizational policies at the employee's fingertip, so that they will be able to make better decisions. So sometimes for, let's say, new hires, even for long-term employees, sometimes for any new cases or new policies that are issued, or new information that they have, they would not be able to see all this information right away, right? So basically, with digital labor, we also hope to be able to employ this kind of assistant to the employee so that they can easily find the information, right? So basically, like HR assist, IT assist, or travel assistant, right? To be so that the employees would have a certain degree of also what we call self-service, right? Or internal chatbot, where they would be able to do this kind of action and obtain information much quicker. So last but not least, we also have customer care, right? So this is more towards external customer, right? So, but very similar to employees empowerment, for customer care, we also provide them with self-service experience to be able to empower them to be able to get to the solution to the issue much quicker, right? So this is in the context of, let's say, contact center modernization, also agent assistant. Okay, so now let's move on to Watsonx Orchestrate. So on the fundamental, Watsonx Orchestrate is our IBM platform for digital labor. So how does it help you or our customer to be able to obtain better productivity in this case? So on the business overview, right? So what Watson Orchestrate can do is that it help you to democratize the availability of automation through natural language. So as you can see on the right side over here, the interface of Watsonx Orchestrate is a chat, right? And then over here, you can see that you can add, there are different skills within this interface that can be done, right? So basically, when you need to perform a certain automation, let's say to connect between different applications. So currently, how you are doing it is you have to log into one application and then sometimes move on to the second application for another interface, right? So within Watsonx Orchestrate, is able to consolidate all this automation or application availability into one single platform, so that you can interact with multiple different applications via this one interface. And then Watson Orchestrate also help to highly accessible experience for non-technical user, right? So the interface is entirely via the chat, right? So of course there are also builder roles that basically where the IT professional would be configuring the skills, right? So this allows for the IT to be able to build and import custom capability. Let's say if they already have certain automation that are built via other solution, we can also integrate them together with Orchestrate. And then in the front end, the users who are HR professional and non-technical are still able to use the skills that has already been published. So the IT as well as the business user can work hand in hand together on this platform. Okay, so these are the summaries of how Watsonx Orchestrate works, right? And how it differentiates itself from other IT automation solution. So first, with how it interacts. So Watson Orchestrate actually use a chat interface, as I mentioned before. So instead of having to go through technical application, let's say for robotic process automation or other automation solution that most of the time can only be used by the IT and technical user. With the chat, it basically empowered your HR professional to be able to automatically make changes or launch an automation that they need, right? And then Orchestrate also have a context awareness, right? So let's say if you once a user is chatting in a flow with Watson, they are also able to raise, let's say, an interview with a particular candidate, right? after they have searched through the different profile, right? So immediately the orchestrate would be able to recognize that if they want to launch an interview, which candidate this is referring to, and which job requisition this should be updated into. So there are also guidance. So the guidance is important to direct the user to what is the next step. So together with context awareness and guidance, it helps Watsonx Orchestrate to provide a seamless experience. So let's just say that user want to, after they have searched through the candidate, instead of them having to say that they want to schedule an interview, Watsonx Orchestrate will immediately suggest them the next step to be scheduled an interview or to send a follow-up email to the candidate and the hiring manager so that they don't have to manually key in this information, but instead just one click to be able to move on to the next step within the workflow. Okay, so I will demonstrate later during the demo part. So next, how it thinks, right? So Watsonx Orchestrate basically use dynamic sequencing to help with orchestrate skills in real time. So there are also memory that help to maintain multiple different interaction and context awareness. And then orchestrate also allow the user to multitask. So what this means is, let's say if they have already launched a task to update system, for example, from a list of data input, while orchestrate is processing this particular task, right? The chat is not put on hold. So in addition to this, the user can continue to chat with Watsonx and to see the result, to inquire new information, etc. And last but not least, how it works, right? So Watsonx Orchestrate have both the team as well as the personal skills interface for the user to use, right? So basically the identity of the application that we use, depending on whether you are using it as a personal or from the enterprise account, would pick the unique credential to access the tools, corresponding tools, and execute the task accordingly. So let's say if you have certain backend tasks that connect the system, this can be the team credential. And then if you have to send, to schedule interview, to send updates, that would be tagged to your personal identity, right? So those are credentials that Watsonx Orchestrate will leverage to execute the different tasks. So on the skills, what we call skills is basically the building block within Watsonx Orchestrate that talk about the different automation integration with the applications that are available, right? So right now we have about 100 out of the box pre-configured skills within Watsonx Orchestrate that you can immediately configure based on your credential. So in addition to this, there are also custom skills. So custom skills are typically built by the IT team. So let's say if you already have a certain RPA bots that integrate different systems, or if you have certain API that connect directly to a different application. So all this can be configured as a custom skill to allow Watsonx Orchestrate to integrate to all those other applications, in addition to the out-of-the-box pre-configured skills. So in addition to this, of course, you also have the choice of delegation, where there are some long-running tasks and you want to delegate this task to a particular person or a team. Okay, so in short, Watsonx Orchestrate is about automating work, right? So from the user, so we want to empower the knowledge workers to be able to engage with this solution through using through conversation and chatbot, so that they can directly launch automation as well as manage and optimize their work to gain better productivity. And then once the user interact with Orchestrate on the back end, Watsonx Orchestrate will receive the request and then match what is from the context of the conversation to find what is the best skills among the skills that has been published, as well as the sequence of tasks based on the context that has been set within the skill to execute the next step, right? So within the skill catalog, it's basically a ever-expanding directory where the IT team can continue to update this more custom skills with application, as well as available specific tasks into this skill catalog. And then you can continue to build skill as well as skill trees, right? Where you will be able to direct through a complete workflow and enhance the user experience. And last but not least, you have automation, right? So the builder, which is basically typically a role given to the IT team, right? You will be able to build and discover as well as import any existing automation project that has already been built into custom skill into Watson Orchestrate. And then from there, bring the automation that currently is locked, usually locked within the IT department to make it available to business user, to HR professional to be able to utilize. So the value for Watson Orchestrate is about the speed and the ease to manage digital labor to help the workers to be able to save a lot of their time and increase their productivity. So basically, Orchestrate allows you to add and train new automation as well as to enable the user to use the existing automation project that is already available within your organization, but maybe currently they don't have the technical skills or the access to be able to get direct involvement into those automation without going through the ITT. And then they would be able to access all the different application, like let's say Workday, SAP, Oracle, etc., whichever application that they deal with on daily basis to make it a seamless experience for them via one interface of Watson Orchestrate. Okay, so from IBM side, before we publish a solution, because we also is our own client. So from IBM Human Resource, we have already used Watson Orchestrate on our day-to-day operation, right? And basically how Watson Orchestrate help them is with the quarterly promotion process, which is critical to retaining top talent within IBM, right? So they at the moment they actually execute it within one region, whereas as of right now, this has already been rolled out across to all the different territory. So the statistic that you see over here is only within one quarter in 2022. So IBM is able to save 12,000 hours in total within one region and within only one business unit to be able to save the time that are involved to complete all this process involved, so that we're able to make the process of promotion much quicker and to make the employees as well as the HR professional much happier. So in addition to internal reference, we also, of course, have external reference. So over here, we have Sport Clips Hair Club, which is a national hair care franchise. So in this case, Watson Orchestrate was also employed into the HR space. So basically, they use Watson Orchestrate to help with expand staff and drive employee engagement. So over here, they have been on the lookout to look at innovative solution to basically make incremental improvement to their backend process. Right? So within this project, we are able to see significantly improvement in their again within their HR process automation. Okay, so within the HR space, of course, it's not limited to only a particular use case. So there within the HR continuum, so it extend across these 8 key workflows to be able to manage the employee's journey, right? So of course, the common workflow that we see most often is with recruitment, right? So be able to select and analyze talent, as well as to communicate with different hiring manager, update information, schedule interview, do background check, etc. So these are one of the first key workflow. And then we have also onboarding, right? So onboarding is a process that are highly repetitive. So any new hires that come into the company, there are a set checklists, information that need to be updated. Sometimes the HR professional have to update across multiple system and work with multiple team. Let's say with the IT team to be able to set up the credential, their emails, their computer, etc. And then work with the security team to set up their staff card, etc. Right. So all this have to be coordinated and highly repetitive with the onboarding. So next we also have learning, right? So let's say for new hire to learn to be able to obtain certain certificate, as well as manage and track and report their learning activity to their manager and across. Performance and goals. So again, one of the challenge within the HR space right now is to make sure that the employees feel the growth and the engagement that are given to them, right? So we have this workflow to help with goal alignment, right? To do performance review, as well as to provide feedback from the manager to the employees or vice versa. And then we also have compensation and benefit, like bonus planning, compensation benchmark, tracking open enrollment, dependence or decision, right? So all this are also information that the employees need to give to the manager. And all this information tracking can be done through a set workflow and checklist. So last, we also have payroll, with payroll processing, reporting, audit control, and integrated time management, right? So we want to track the employees and the amount of money that they are paid and provide this information to them at the end, right? So in addition to this 8 key workflow, of course, we can also look at many other workflow with employees management, right? Like record management, inquiry and self-serve, compliance training. So all these different areas are potential area for automation and for Watson Orchestrate to be integrated into all these different workflow. So within your organization, you may already have some level of automation, right? So you may already have maybe workflow solution. You may already have some RPA UiPath bot that is already deployed to have to automate some part of some of this workflow. So with Watsonx Orchestrate, we want to bring all these different automation, all these different bots that are already developed at the fingertips of the business user, the HR professional, so that they would be able to utilize all of them for their day-to-day job. Okay, so for the demo, let's look into this context of HR talent acquisition specialist. So we have the persona called Cassie, right? So Cassie's challenge is that she has to deal with a hyper-competitive job market with high attrition rate and high demand for talent, right? So she also have to access a few different complex tools, as well as to go through complex hiring process, maybe pertaining to different talent, different hiring manager, right? So the process sometimes is not fixed. And then she also have business commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, and that should be inbuilt within the process of recruitment. So what she wants to do is, of course, to devise a sourcing strategy, looking at the available candidate, and then work with the hiring manager to update them on the outcome on a regular basis, and also prepare for candidate screening and plan for the next recruitment event, for example. However, she's dealing with, again, complex solution tools, which lead her to have to do a lot of copy and paste, let's say from Excel to applicant tracking system. And then she also have to chase after the hiring team to complete certain step within the hiring process due to the complexity of the hiring process that they have. And then she also have to manage scheduling, rescheduling of interview between the hiring manager, sometimes herself, and the different stakeholder involved. So she have to bounce between different systems to basically complete the complicated hiring process. Okay, so on the fundamental, how Watson Orchestrate can help HR professionals such as Cassie is, for example, within this process, she have to create and publish job description. Secondly, she have to source for candidate. Third, she have to schedule interview. And then last but not least, to collect feedbacks, right, from the hiring manager so that she would know how to better improve this whole process on in the future. Okay, so we will look into each of this step and see how Watson Orchestrate can help Cassie. So first, to create a job requisition, right? So instead of logging into a different system, Cassie can easily chat with Watsonx, right? And Watson would be able to help her to be able to create the job requisition, as well as request approval to the hiring manager through natural language. And also guiding her through the job requisition creation process with the different data fields and information that are available so that she can focus on crafting the job description and editing the job description so that to attract the best suitable talent in this case, right? So it helps to, in short, eliminate the delay caused by coordination between the multiple stakeholders, between her approvers and the hiring manager. And then next, Watsonx can also help her in sourcing for the suitable candidate by going through and accessing the database available between public means or sourcing tools as well as own internal database. And then from here, Cassie can focus on devising a creative strategy to advertise this open job to the market. And also prepare a recommendation to the hiring manager on which candidate would be available, right? So basically this Watsonx Orchestrate in this case help the HR professional to be able to perform sourcing and matching much quicker with the available candidates within multiple different database. So next, with the interview, which can be very time consuming and challenging for one person to manage. So Watsonx Orchestrate would be able to help to send interview confirmation as well as checking through candidate data and send them to the hiring manager, right? So Cassie can focus on research and prepare for the interview with the questions, enabling the hiring manager with impactful interview questions. Okay, so this helps to ensure a positive candidate interview experience and make sure that we will not have situation when there are conflict in schedule and etc. Okay, last but not least, this may be one of the last steps, but basically for Cassie, she also want to collect feedbacks from the hiring manager or hiring committees for review so that she can improve the process later on, right? So if she have to do it personally, she may be too busy to do the sourcing and interview to be able to have dedicated time to do the last step. And over here, Watson Orchestrate would be able to automatically help her to follow up with the hiring committee. And so Cassie can focus on acting on, let's say, successful or declined candidate and move them into onboarding, right? So this also have to reduce human error and processing time within this entire process of hiring. Okay, so with this, I will move on to a quick video interactive demo, right? So over here, for Cassie, she will first log into Watsonx Orchestrate. Okay, so again, within Watsonx, we already have a library of pre-configured skills. So this is what we call the skill catalog, right? So there would be some recommended suggested skill at the top to recommend to Cassie what are some of the skills that would be more relevant to her role. And then over here, for Cassie's case, she would be mostly using HR relevant skills such as from SAP, Workday, and Oracle. Okay, so of course, the interface of Watson Orchestrate is a chat, right? So over here, she will, for example, ask the chat that she wants to create a job requisition, right? So with this job requisition, so again, the chat will ask if she wants to create a new or to copy an old job requisition over here. So of course, if there are more context provided, so for example, over here, she will say, create existing job requisition for analyst position, and then a location, for example. So from with more context provided within the chat command, right? They would be able to, for example, recognize that, oh, it can be between a financial analyst or market analyst, for example, from the database that they have, and then provide this choice to the HR professional to choose. So let's say over here, she wants to look into financial analyst, and then if there is any change to the location, she can also indicate this over here. And then since it is an existing, she wants to do this from an existing job requisition, right? So immediately, Watson would be able to pull this, right? What are some of the existing job requisition that match the role of financial analyst over here? And then she can pick the correct one and then choose continue. And then of course, there would be more information that needs to be added. For example, over here, to add the competency description and job description into the existing job requisition that we have. So once she have done that, the job requisition will be sent to the manager for approval. And once it has been approved, right, she can choose to immediately post this onto a social site. For example, over here, this has been posted onto LinkedIn, as you can see here, and also into the internal system, right? So in a case when, let's say she want to post this job on another platform, for example, and sometimes this skill may not be available. So over here, there is an option to either find to add a new skills, basically. And then the source of this can come from other automation platform via, let's say, Open API, etc., or from RPA. So when we add the skills, right? So there are multiple skills when we have import from the API where we can pick over here, right? So basically, from the description of what we did just now was a RPA bot skill. So from the description of that, the Watsonx Orchestrate would indicate a certain phrases that is used to recognize when this skill is being called, right? So over here, if she asks again to post a job onto Indeed, this time, once the skill has been added, they would be able to recognize immediately that the skill is available and the job role will be posted on Indeed accordingly. Okay, so on the next part, so once she has posted a job and there are candidates available, right? So over here, the next task is to schedule interview. So of course, schedule interview is not a quick skills to be completed because the bot will have to send email to the interviewers and arrange the time according to all the interviewer as well as the candidate availability. So in the meantime, the Watson Orchestrate is not locked, right? So in the meantime, Cassie can still interact with Watson and ask for more information. For example, if someone asks her about the parental leave policy within Grapevine, she would be able to still chat with Watsonx and then obtain the information to follow up with the candidate. And then once the interview has been scheduled, there will be a notification to her to inform that this has been scheduled successfully. Okay, so with that, basically Watsonx Orchestrate will empower the HR professional to be able to work more productively with the different automation tools that they have. Okay, so within Watsonx, we will continue to update the automation and pre-built skills that are available. So when we implement the process and implement the Watsonx project within your organization, you can consider them into 3 different phases. So in the first phase, for example, you can just depend on the pre-built skills within the tool itself to build your automation. And then within phase 2, for example, you can look into integrating with the different automation solution that is already available. Let's say if you have already workflow, you already have some bots that are already built, you can integrate them together within Watson Orchestrate within the second phase. And of course, phase 3, right? You continue to improve the context understanding, right? By improving on the phrases and that are tagged between different skills, so that the Watson Orchestrate would be able to optically recognize and improve the context understanding when the business user are using the tool, right? So as this go on, of course, the context understanding usually will take time to be able to complete, but with the tool Watson Orchestrate, it basically brings the interface and automation available to the business user and help them to be able to complete their job much quicker. Okay, so in short, with Watsonx Orchestrate, we are able to empower the business as well as elevate the teams to be able to work hand in hand using all the different automation between the IT team, the HR professional, as well as other team within the organization, and then help the professional to be able to enjoy their job without having to go through the trouble of dealing with mundane, repetitive tasks and still complete their job with higher efficiency. Okay, so with this, I have come to the end of the presentation. So now I will open the floor to questions.